This is TechCrunch TV Live at Disrupt New York. I'm here with Evan Robinson and Jessica Santana of Brooklyn on Tech. Why don't you guys just tell us what Brooklyn on Tech is, first of all?
Sure. So Brooklyn on Tech is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is to inspire the next generation of technology leaders emerging from Brooklyn, New York. We work with high school students, put them through a year-long enrichment program that only gives them the professional skills they need to be successful, but the technical ones as well.
How many high school students are you working with right now?
Yeah.
Our first cohort of students were 20, and then going into September, we're looking to bring in about 40 to 50. So we're about to double, or more than double our impact this year in the fall.
So you guys seem youngish, not too long out of high school yourselves. How did you actually get involved in this?
Yeah, sure. So, when we were in high school, we were in Brooklyn, New York, we always had a huge interest in technology, but at the time, we didn't know that we could be technologists. And so we were teaching ourselves how to code and do HTML just because we wanted our MySpace page layouts to be very nice, right? But
was it good? What was on your MySpace page?
It was a background of I think Brooklyn and Biggie Smalls at one point in time that I had designed. And then I just threw a HTML code to actually have it populate on the page. And then, when we got to college, we got our bachelor's degrees in business-related fields and realized we weren't really passionate about that. Turned down some offers to top companies and decided to get our master's in IT. And we've worked in management consulting, saw a lot of changes in the borough, and decided to start, our organization as a platform to give back.
And I think one of the big things also is that Jessica and myself are Brooklynites. We were born and raised in Brooklyn, so when we came back for our professional careers, started to see all the technology firms migrate into the borough. It was just an affinity and something that we held dear to our heart to, give back to the next generation of students coming up in the borough.
So when you think of Brooklyn, I mean, it's such a. I think one of the things that was actually really surprising to me moving to New York is how large Brooklyn is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, I guess where in Brooklyn do you guys live?
Yeah. So want to go?
Yeah, sure. So I live around the Bushwick, East New York area, and I grew up in East New York, not too far from the Linden Boulevard movie theater.
Same thing here. So Jessica and I have a similar background. We both live in Bushwick area now, but we're both brought up in the East New York, Bushwick area growing up.
So you both live in Bushwick and actually pretty close to each other, if I recall
yes,
correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So does that mean you guys actually if you have great ideas for what you want to do with Brooklyn on Tech, you'll just show up at each other's doorsteps and, hey, I had this other thing I was thinking of?
All the time. Jessica and I are attached to the hip, So we're either in person together like this, or we're virtually meeting over Google Chat or some sort of virtual platform. So, I'm not too far from Jess, and Jess isn't too far from me.
So let's talk a little bit more about the actual program. What are some of the subjects that you're actually teaching, and then how is it that you're actually able to develop the curriculum to actually get students interested and to learn something substantive about these topics?
Yes, definitely. So Brooklyn on Tech teaches 5 different programming languages. We basically give the students about 180 hours of technical training, and then we also give the students about 180 hours of professional development. Because we understand that it's just not the technical side that they need to succeed in these companies, but they also need the professional side. How do they sit down and speak with Anthony, while the stage is hot and you're in this big conference room. So giving them those, giving them those, soft skills and professional skills they need. The curriculum, Jessica and myself, along with, our board of advisors and volunteers and other stakeholders, came together and just craft out a really good curriculum that was going to, both tackle the technical side and the functional side for technology.
Yeah. No, I think you pretty much covered it. Him and I come from business backgrounds, and so the curriculum was developed in terms of our business backgrounds and our technical backgrounds as well.
Is this something where somebody watching this video could actually get involved in some way in supporting you guys?
Yeah, so right now we're actually recruiting for our next cohort of students. So if you know any juniors and seniors in high school who might be interested in our program, please forward them the application. We're also in the process of recruiting our next cohort of mentors. Our mentors this year come from places like JP Morgan Chase, MTV, Foursquare, and so we're really just looking for a larger reach. So anyone who's trying to give back to Brooklyn youth, they can definitely look on our website and apply.
So the students that you work with, are they usually ones that already have an interest in technology, or are you also trying to find people who maybe don't know about it yet, but they can sort of maybe turn their life around if you did get them connected to it?
That's a great question. So all of our students do have an interest in technology. I would just say the biggest difference is that because we recruit from different high schools throughout the borough. Some may have, high schools that are already teaching them code, and some may come from high schools that are more liberal arts based, but they're already showing an interest in tech because of day-to-day life, right? So we work with students that are all interested in tech, but may not be exposed to technology on the same level.
So I think you guys are also in this interesting position where I think there's a lot, when technology moves into a neighborhood, startups move into a neighborhood, there's a lot of excitement, but there's also sometimes a worry that the people who sort of made that neighborhood what it was get pushed out. And I'm curious, do you feel like, especially in neighborhoods like Dumbo, or to a lesser extent like in Williamsburg, there's a lot of startups moving in, rent prices going up. I mean, is that something you kind of are worried about, or do you feel like that's overall a good thing?
I have to be honest with you. I think that the shift in technology in the borough is creating a lot of, skepticism, a lot of fear. But I think there's always a way to make that an opportunity to create meaningful conversations with people who have been traditionally left out of those conversations to start participating meaningfully in the economy there, right? So I really think it's just about creating pipelines for people who have been underrepresented in the technology industry to actually go ahead and call, their place of employment home in places like the Brooklyn Tech Triangle.
What's been the hardest thing about getting this set up?
Can you say that again?
What's been the most difficult thing or challenging thing about getting Brooklyn on Tech, off the ground?
I would say just,
It's just all been easy, super walk in the park.
Yeah, I think as co-founders, Jessica and I wear many hats. So, I think sometimes time management could be the most, because Jessica and I are out, shaking hands with stakeholders, recruiting students, fundraising, going to this networking event to meet this person. So I think, the biggest thing is just prioritizing your time correctly in order for the organization to be successful. You can meet those benchmarks that you put in place for yourself.
When you look outside of Brooklyn, do you see a lot of similar programs, or do you think this is something that doesn't really sort of exist broadly yet?
Yeah, I think that I think there are a lot of programs out there trying to teach students how to code, and everyone has their different approach. I think we come from a different philosophy. With us, it's really about focused energy and positive role modeling from the students that we work with. And so, from what we understand is that we, one of the only programs out there who actually gives one-on-one mentoring to the students that go through a program, because it's not only about teaching the students the skills, but it's also about having them believe that they can access these fields and increasing their levels of confidence.
Great, well, thank you so much for joining us.